Hello, gorgeous. Happy Tuesday. It's Bex. It's Tuesday, and it is time for another Tune Up Tuesday, where I tune your heart to the frequency of love. And I'm super excited to be chatting with you today. It is a beautiful spring day out here in Mexico. As you can see, my palm trees are blooming, as always. Most of you know that I live in Colorado, and the weather here is just always so wacky. I mean, weather's wacky everywhere, especially with the times and the changing times. But, we literally just had this crazy epic hailstorm that came on so fast. There was like a thunderclap and then a ping, 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 and then just like this deluge of hail that was like as big as a quarter. And it lasted maybe 7 minutes, and then it was gone. Just gone. And now the sun is coming out and the sky is blue. I mean, it is just bonkers. It's kind of bonkers. But the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because as I was watching this crazy epic hailstorm and checking it out, it really brought up for me how weather patterns are much like our emotions, and that I think that we often have the tendency to get stuck in an emotional state that either serves us or doesn't serve us. Oftentimes doesn't serve us. That's when we're noticing it. But the message that I wanted to bring today was to talk about how you're not your emotions. Your emotions don't define who you are. And, just like this hailstorm, our emotions can be fleeting. A couple of weeks ago, I did a Tune Up Tuesday around how to stay high vibration when what you want isn't showing up, especially if it's in your love life and you're out there and you're dating and you're doing all the things, but you still haven't attracted your person. I remember about 6 months ago, I was working with a client who she'd been dating, and she found a guy that she really was attracted to. They had great chemistry. There was a lot going on between them that she was really excited about. And then after about maybe 4 or 5 dates, he disappeared. He went quiet. That term called ghosting. That's what he did. And she messaged him a couple of times, and then we were like, okay, we're walking away from this. And then he reached out to her about a week and a half after that. And it turns out he held this whole story about his baby mama drama and being in court and this and that and the other. And, this is an upstanding guy. So it wasn't like he had this whole string of baby mama drama, but he was in a legal battle for a young child. And, and it became very clear to my client that was his top priority in life right now. Not only his daughter, but also fighting for his daughter and protecting his daughter from the mother. So the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because that really, really gutted my client. She was so affected by that. Because in recognizing what his priorities were, it just brought up this recognition that she was not top priority, nor was a committed relationship top priority for him in this moment. And which meant for her, because that was her top priority right now, that meant for her that she needed to move on. And she was really sad about it. She was really I remember the same feeling. I remember releasing my Mr. 80% and being gutted over it. And not even so much about him, but just being so torn up about feeling like I'm back at square one and back at starting over. And it was just so painful. I remember crying, I don't know, it was probably for a lot longer than my client did, but she was able to move through that emotion within an afternoon, and which is so beautiful because from that, she really gave it space. She really gave it the heart and the intention and the love. She gave herself the love that she was missing in that moment. And it was just such a beautiful thing to witness, for her to experience it and then release it. So I've got a couple of people tuning in and some questions popping up. Elizabeth says, how do you handle letting someone go when feeling that torn up? It is not easy. Thank you for asking that. It is really challenging. It's not an easy thing. But I think that for me, what comes up is coming back to the idea of scarcity versus abundance mindset, and one of the things that makes it hard to let go, makes it hard to release with blessing, is what I call it in my practice, is when we fear that that person is our only option, or our best option, or the very best thing that's ever come along, or when we have a story about what's available to us moving forward. And I get the stories feel very real because they're evidence that we've collected based on our experience up until that moment. So when we're talking about releasing someone that you're really connected with or you're really attracted to, there can be an uphill mindset battle, right? So it's, like I said, it's not an easy one, but when we're in that position, the first thing I want to remind you is that our emotions don't define us. They're not who we are, and that our emotions have the ability to pass in and out of our lives just as swiftly as weather patterns, like this crazy hailstorm today. And to the second point around releasing, I think that when we are finding it difficult to release someone with blessing, it's the very first step would be to, and I teach this to my clients, the very first step would be to be evaluating like all the things that they brought into your life, and and also like all of the needs met, as well as all of the needs not met, so that we're getting a clear picture of why we're releasing this person. And then moving forward, if you do struggle with, having a story built up around this person and the what's available to you moving forward, the recommendation there is to kind of sit down and have a heartfelt self-reflection around what your stories are, and write them down, write them out. And then you can go back and ask yourself, are these true, or are these feelings based on a gathered collection of evidence in my life up until now? So I hope that's super helpful. I hope that you are able to be observant of your emotions, be a witness of them when you're experiencing them, have that outside perspective. I talk a lot about climbing up to the beach chair and overlooking your beach life from that lifeguard position, and recognize them, recognize them and name them. Somebody once long ago told me that if you can name them, you can tame them. And that is one of the brilliant steps in diffusing emotion is naming them, identifying them. Because when we can step outside of the experience of the emotion from that observational place and start to call the experience by a name, it starts to diffuse the experience, the intensity of the emotion itself. Now, it's not going to get rid of it, and nor do we want to get rid of our emotions. I mean, these are our beautiful human experiences. We just don't want them to hijack our life and hijack our forward momentum in any area of life, especially love. All right? So I hope that's helpful. I hope that you have a beautiful Tuesday, and I'll join you here next week for another Tune Up Tuesday, where I support you in tuning your heart to the frequency of love. And if you have a question that you want me to answer, feel free to shoot me a message here on Facebook, or go over to my website, BecksBurtonCoaching.com, and I would love to support you. All right, my love, have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.